Welcome back and happy holidays. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the AirPods Pro. It's around Christmas time, which means everybody's going to be getting a whole bunch of different gifts. So I thought this would be a perfect time to review the AirPod Pro in contrast to the AirPods. And as an addition, I found this called the AirFly Pro. That is planned for this video, but before we get started, make sure y'all subscribe to my channel, like this video, and now let's get on with the video. So right here we have the AirPods Pro case. Go ahead and open it. You got the standard, designed by Apple. I don't think anybody actually reads this. And then we have the case. First impressions, it feels a little bit heavier than the other AirPods. Yeah, it's definitely heavier. And then obviously there is a size comparison. So the AirPod Pro is shorter and longer, and I think that is to accommodate the sizing. Right, and continuing in the box, we also have some different ear tips. It looks like there are two different kinds in here and one that come on the AirPods. So you have three different options. I believe that they are large, medium, and small. Apple says that this is to accommodate different ear sizes and to make them more comfortable. So they have like a whole ear size test thing that you're supposed to do before you actually start using the AirPods. So we have, of course, the lightning charging cable. That's pretty much what is in the box to start with. Per the instructions that are included in the AirPods Pro box, it says that all you have to do to connect the AirPod Pros to your phone is to turn on your Bluetooth. To connect the AirPod Pros, you just open the case near your phone. Oh, it goes right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and press connect. Oh, it's telling me the different functions. Oh, whoa. So it looks like there is noise control, noise canceling, and a few other options that you can change just by pressing the buttons on the AirPod Pros. So it's giving me kind of a step-by-step instruction right now of how to actually use them and how to control the different sound things that you have with the AirPod Pros. Now, I believe that they are connected. I did read this. Something that's really cool is they have something called the ear tip test, and it'll actually kind of assess whether or not the different ear tips that you have on your AirPods are a good fit for your ears. So I want to go ahead and try changing the tip just to see if it's actually as seamless as it says, because all that it says is to remove the tip, you pull firmly. I feel like I'm gonna tear this or something. I don't want to do that. Should I just go for it? Oh, okay. That was so scary, not gonna lie. Okay, and then to attach tip, you just push until it clicks. Let's go with large. Oh, it's in. Wow, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Wow, so I'm actually pretty impressed with that. I don't know how they did that, because honestly, just by pulling on it, I feel like it would come off when like taking it out of your ears or something. If something caught it, it might pop off. But it doesn't seem like it has any issues with that, and it's just when taking the ear tip off that it actually comes off. Now that I have my ear tip fit results, let's try testing the AirPods and their noise cancellation feature. So per Apple, the AirPod Pros, they actually last 5 hours of listening time if you do not use noise cancellation. If you are going to use noise cancellation, then they last 4.5 hours and you have 3 hours of talking time. The actual charging case gives an additional 24 hours of battery life and 18 hours of talk time. I don't know if you would ever really run out of battery. I mean, essentially if you're using these on like a normal basis, which I would say like maybe 2 hours a day, I don't think you'd really have to recharge them for like 12 days, which is really long. That's pretty cool. Like, that's pretty good. And I would say like even a long flight, because that's when I normally use my AirPods, you'd be pretty set. I don't think you'd actually have to like charge them, which I'm really impressed with. That's really cool. The AirPod Pros actually have two microphones in them. They have one outward facing and one inward facing. So the outward facing microphone is right here. It listens to what is happening around you. So this is used in the noise cancellation. It's actually listening to the environment sounds around you, so it knows what to cancel out. And it is also used in transparency mode to take that sound and actually transmit it into your ear. They have an internal microphone, which is listening to what you are listening. So it knows if it needs to fine tune something on the noise cancellation or transparency mode, or actually just fine tune the music itself or whatever you're listening to, so you're actually getting better quality than you would with the original AirPods. Honestly, I don't even know how all that stuff fits in this little tiny AirPod. Whoa, wait. Somebody say something.
Hey, Camry.
That's so weird. It sounds like an echo, like way down there.
Subscribe to Camry Noel.
Are you talking?
Yes. Clap if you can hear me.
I can't hear you.
Clap if you can hear me.
Hold up 2 fingers.
Were you talking?
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed with this. So I do have the Bose earbuds, and those are noise canceling. That's what I've used for years just because the noise canceling is so good. Actually, I would say that the AirPod Pros are pretty on par with that. I'm really impressed with the noise cancellation, but what I really want to test is the transparency mode. I would actually use this. I know a lot of kids would use this in like high school because they can listen to their music, but they can still hear what the teacher is saying. So if they get like asked a question, then they like know what's happening, but they can still listen to music. But it's also good for like safety reasons, I would say, because I've heard a lot of people be concerned with the noise cancellation because if they're on running, they wouldn't want somebody to be able to sneak up behind them and not be able to hear them. So transparency mode actually allows you to hear what's happening around you while still having good quality music. So that's pretty cool, and I actually want to test it to see if I can hear you. Okay, whoa! It just switched all of a sudden. That's so weird. Almost like it's still noise canceling, but I can hear myself talk more. It's like a little bit distant, and I think that's because it is like taking what I'm saying and putting it back into my ear, so I can hear a little bit of a delay, but it's not enough that you'd really notice. You can pretty much hear everything. I want to try it with music now. Oh, that's so weird!
You can still hear us?
Yeah!
Really?
Like, what? Pretty well. It's like I have 4 ears. Like 2 of them are listening to the conversation and 2 of them are listening to music. So as per Apple, kind of like I said earlier, the transparency mode is used so that you can hear traffic or like bus stop announcements. Let's say you're on the bus in New York City or something, you're trying to get off your stop, you don't want to miss your stop, so you can still hear people around you talking. And honestly, I think that is a genius idea because we've all been wanting noise canceling, but the thing that you don't get with noise canceling is you can't hear what's happening around you. So this is the best of both worlds almost in a sense. Right now I'm going to see the different ways to change the mode. It's really weird, I'm just talking in transparency mode. It sounds weird. So I'm gonna go ahead and just switch it off right now. You know what? I can actually hear myself way better in transparency than off. I guess that proves A, that the transparency mode works really well, and B, that the seal is really good, because when it's just sitting in my ears, it's like really muffled, the outside world is. It's kind of like the AirPods have, you can control different things using the AirPods. I do think that the AirPods you had to tap though, and on these you actually press down here, which is a little bit different. It just played my music. So I'm actually gonna look into what the different controls do. You press once to press play or pause, which I just did. If you double click, then you skip forward a song or whatever you're listening to. And if you triple click, then you skip backwards. So it's not like the AirPods where like the left one did something and the right one did something. It actually is universal. So you can tap one on here or here. So that's actually nice if you have one hand that's busy, you don't have to cross over, you can just press the other one. And then also if you press and hold, it will switch between the active noise cancellation and the other modes. So that's actually how you change it on your AirPods. They do say that that has some like cool Siri functions, so I want to see what is different compared to the other AirPods or just Siri in general. So I'm gonna try it. I actually don't use Siri that often, so this is a little learning experience for me. Hey Siri, text Dad. Hello, send. It's so weird, Siri's like talking in my ear. So on the person's phone that is receiving the text, under the text it will have something that says sent with Siri, which I think is really good because sometimes Siri doesn't understand what you're saying and messes up the wording a little bit. So if your reader reads that, then they can understand that you're not texting with your hand, so if something's grammatically incorrect, then it probably is because you weren't actually like verifying the message before it was sent. So they do now have a thing that is called audio sharing, which means you can actually pair 2 different devices. I think they limited it to AirPods and Beats headphones, but you can actually pair them to one phone, which is pretty cool because let's say you're watching a movie with someone in a public place and you're using your earphones, you can pair theirs to your phone so you're watching the same thing at the same time. So yeah, it basically, all you have to do is open the lid and hold it next to a phone and it will connect. It is connecting. Here are my AirPods. Here are my AirPod Pros. So let's see if I can, this is connected, this one's connected. Now I'm gonna see if they both play if I play my music. Oh, it pops up as something different. In your Bluetooth settings, it pops up under sharing with. Okay, so now we're gonna try playing music. That's so cool. It's like going in both at the same time. That's so weird. Okay, so that is a really cool feature that I actually will use. I think I would definitely use that. So now comparing the fit of the 2 AirPods. Obviously just from looking at them, the AirPod Pros are much shorter compared to the AirPods. And just the fit in general, the AirPod Pros are much comfortable, and I think that is due to the different ear tips that they have. They're a little bit like softer, and I also feel like they're gonna stay in my ears better, which honestly I've never had a problem with the AirPods falling out of my ears, but for some reason like they just feel more secure than the AirPods do. Maybe it's because they're shorter and I actually can't feel them on my neck right here. I'm not really sure, but it almost feels like I'm not wearing anything at all. The AirPod Pros have something called an adaptive EQ and the active noise cancellation, which honestly levels it up so much. Like, the noise cancellation is such like a big step. That's like the big thing that I would say about these AirPods that is so impressive, is the noise cancellation. And then of course there is the price difference where the AirPods are $199 and the AirPod Pros are $249. Which honestly, that's not like a huge difference. It's only like, what, 50 something dollars, which for everything that the AirPod Pros comes with, it's a pretty good deal, I would say. I mean, they're expensive in general, but if you're going to buy AirPods, I would say just go ahead and buy the AirPod Pros instead of the AirPods, because you do get so much more with the AirPod Pros than the AirPods. Alright, so now I did actually find this thing called the AirPod, now I'm just saying AirPod everywhere, the AirFly Pro. So the only thing that I have with the AirPods that I do not like, do not have the headphone jack that plugs into the TVs that are on most airplanes. But actually I found this, I just happened to stumble across it. I'm not sure if it's new. So when opening the case, you do have this nice little bag that you can store everything in. And actually when I did travel with it, I actually just stuck my AirPods in this case, which was really cool because then I just had like this little AirPod or earphone case that I could travel with, and I didn't have to have like two different bags. So it comes with this charger, which I believe is USB-C, which is interesting that it's not lightning cable. I think that would be because it is not an official Apple product, even though Apple does sell it. So you don't have to connect it to your phone. You just connect it straight to your AirPods, and literally all you have to do is like turn it on and like press a button on your AirPods, and it will like automatically connect to them. Okay, so we're testing off AirFly. I don't even know if it's connected correctly, so we're gonna try. Let's see. I'm just gonna watch something. It works. That's so weird. Look.
For landing. If you would like additional light, please use the...
And I was really impressed with how easy this was. I thought I was gonna be like way more confused than I actually was. I believe that it's like 50 something dollars, which is a little bit pricey, but honestly it is so worth it to not have those cords all over the place, especially when flying, you know, when someone has to go to the bathroom and like they're crossing over you and you have all your cords, you have to unplug them. Also, this does not just work in the airplane. It says that it can also work in cars. So if you want to plug it into your car jack, you can then Bluetooth your phone to the audio system. When AirPods first came out, I was kind of like, man, I don't really see the use in them, just the original AirPods. Then I got them and they were like a game changer. And then I was like, okay, how different could the AirPod Pros be from the AirPods original? But honestly, it is a big step up. I would definitely recommend this to anybody who's buying AirPods. Just go the step higher. I would say just go for it. But overall, I'm really impressed. I've used them at school, on planes, I've used them all over, and they just have worked everywhere, so I'm really impressed with that. And furthermore, the AirFly is really cool. Something I don't think I personally would use it outside of on the airplane, but on the airplane it was so nice, especially for long flights. You don't have to worry with all the cords, everything like that, and it does have a very long battery life as well. In general, very impressed, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hope it was informational to y'all, and maybe for those of y'all that got or getting AirPods for Christmas, this will help y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and comment down below what was your favorite part, and I'll see you next week. Bye!